angle there, nice kick.
Here comes Jordan.
Jordy come back with those hands again.
Hey, yo, your boys are back.
Hello.
Together. Yes. It's been
the same place.
Couple of weeks.
Oh, wait, no, yeah. We haven't even not been in the same place. It's just been me.
Yeah, it's just been you. So
lucky everybody else.
Yeah, I got COVID 1 week.
Yeah. It's been an eventful couple of weeks.
And then there was just a scheduling time.
Yeah.
The spirit I wanted to talk to him about, man, was looked like he's just a character.
Yeah, he was cool. But yeah, lucky audience. It's not just me. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Good to have you here.
It's good to be back.
Yeah.
This feels good.
Not in my bedroom. The last couple of episodes live from my room.
Do you have air conditioning in your bedroom?
I think so.
I think I'm just saying, it's just a lot cooler. It's fucking hot. It's really hot here, which is good.
I'm going to start doing the podcast from my room, like just in my boxes.
Just from the waist down.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I can dig into that.
That's going to be my next move. So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned. Yeah. I think was it 1774 is coming up soon.
Yeah.
So I think
2 weeks from today.
So we'll probably do a breakdown of that one next time.
Good little lineup, actually.
They should call it rematch. That should be the whole card.
Yeah, actually, fuck, I didn't even think it was
it's just rematches, and it's good rematch. I'm all for those.
Yeah, it's a really good lineup. It's in a kind of a funky area. They're doing something different. They're going down Shell Harbour. Yeah, just randomly.
Good fishing.
I'll take your word for it.
That one.
No, it should be cool. Greenie showed us the venue yesterday, and it looks really cool. Like I think for what, as we know, like in Sydney, the venues are super expensive. So I think heading down south and putting it in something a little bit more open is going to be pretty sick.
Yeah.
Unlucky PTJ guys who are going to travel from Gladesville and the Northern Beaches to Shell Harbour.
But then again, everyone from Canberra travels.
Yeah.
Can't complain too much.
No, it's all a bit of a team effort to get it over the line. But I think it's going to be sick.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it.
All right, cool. So we'll do a little bit of that next week as well. But at the moment, we have a guest that's online, a recurring guest that's been on it before. So you can check him out on our podcast on episode 113. He owns Boxing Works gyms in California. At the moment, he has an atomweight kickboxing champion and 1 championship in Janet Todd, rising star Jacky Bataan, and he has an instructional now out on Warrior Collective, which is Raising Your Fight IQ with Bryan Popejoy. How are you today, Dave?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So, look, man, let's talk about this instruction you got out. How did it actually come about? Because Warrior Collective is a really it's a good resource for a lot of instructors. You got you on there. I've got stuff from Barry Robinson,
Damien Trainer.
Yeah, those are the top ones.
Barry Robinson.
Yeah. How did you come about to getting on there?
Stuart, who runs the magic man behind Warrior Collective, reached out to me, said he was coming to California. He's coming all over the States actually late last year, and asked if I wanted to do it. And I was beyond honored for that, because like we said, just some of the names that he has on there, that's a tough crowd to to be amongst. It's like so the fact that he considered considered me for video, like I said, I was really honored and really excited. So I jumped on the opportunity to hopefully put something out there that people enjoy and get something out of.
When you were approached for it, how did you cobble together? Okay, so I only got so much I can put out there from that. How did you decide on these systems to be on your first volume?
Well, let's see. A lot of it was I got pretty lucky. The last year or so, started getting more seminar opportunities and things around the States. So I really, in the seminars, I just started doing things that we drill. This is some of the stuff we do regularly, some of it daily. So I really just kind of took the same material that I was, kind of touring around the country with, and put it on the video. So it's I feel like I gotta come up with a new album or something now, for 2022. So the pressure's on. But those are the things I kind of decided on. It was just stuff that was honestly stuff we do a lot, and it's one of those things. I don't think it's like anything too out there, too secretive, too crazy. What I always reiterate to people or try to tell people is it's just in my mind it's just repetition.
Yeah.
So I don't think, like I said, the things I did were that crazy. But I think where we get our success with it, not that you asked, but it's just just from doing it again and again and again. Like people are asking me, aren't you worried about putting things out there? That I'm going, no, I don't think so, because I just know it's there's only so much, so many techniques or whatever. It's just how you put it, how you drill it, how you train it or whatever. So yeah. Got a little off track there, but anyway, that's kind of my mindset about
I guess
that.
it's also as well, like, you can get the instructional, but that doesn't automatically mean that you goes, oh, now I'm Bryan Popejoy. I got that level of IQ. I can put it all together. It's like, you can have the techniques in that, but you got to have those systems in place so, like, you can kind of gel them together.
And just put in the work and so be it. So hopefully, it got a good little. It's been, I think, just about 2 weeks since it's been out. It's been like had a good number of sales. I was pleasantly surprised because I'm like self deprecating or whatever. But yeah, well, like I said, I was really honored that Stuart reached out and excited to get that out there. And now I just got to think of volume 2 or whatever.
Nice. So just anyone that's wanted to get it, I'll put the link in the comments.
Awesome.
In the description box down there. And like I was like, we've got it ourselves from there. It is good. It's good.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm interested to understand working in that kind of, I guess, trying to explain concepts for film and to be rewatched is of course a bit different to teaching a seminar live or teaching our classes, and I'm interested in what the process is like as far as refining what's going to make it into the instructional. So like, what was it like, I guess, when you're sitting down, like, I'm going to go over this and this and this, was there a lot of chopping and changing as far as how you were going to present that instructional? Or did you find, like, based on seminars you've done and stuff like that, the process was kind of sort of already set? It was just a matter of communicating it on screen.
A little bit of both, to be honest. I kind of had my notebook, my outline. Stuart kind of gave me an idea of how much material you'd need to be able to fill in, roughly, 2 hours or more if I wanted to go that way. And we just kind of went over, showed some things. He said, okay, this is great. He says, but this might not translate too well. So there was a little bit, what I'd imagine like a process of, any sort of film or, TV type of thing where you're getting direction. He's the director. He's actually everything. He's the sound man, the cameraman, the director. It was pretty much like a one-man show. But he gave me a lot of insight of where we needed to be, and then just how to deliver the message, and how to start each segment and that sort of thing.
Cool. And how different was, so sorry if I cut you off before you finish. How different was the process of getting it together to sort of what you were expecting?
Not too much.
Yeah.
Just the the tricky part is like when you have a class or seminar or whatever, you kind of get that feedback from students. And then, not that I wasn't getting feedback from Stuart, I was, but he's he's just very he's thinking about kind of how things line up, and all these many hats he has to wear. So it's like needy, like, is that any good? He's like, oh, it's great, it's fine. but that type of thing, that was the one thing where after, like, cut, I'm like, any good, you know, that was, that took a little getting used to, because like I said, when you have those live bodies, the students and such,
Yeah.
you get that feedback, you get the confused looks. Stuart was like, okay, cool, next. And I'm like,
yeah. And I suppose as well, it's, I guess, like when you are communicating something to a class, it's like a bunch of people that, want to learn. And especially a lot of time, it's like intermediate or beginner level people that are maybe learning it for the first time, where it's like Stuart would have seen a lot. So it's not like if he understands it, it's like, okay, but can the person at home understand it? Like you don't have that differing experience level to kind of bounce off.
I can see that. It's funny. It was interesting. The whole process, part of it was like he wanted to make sure that we didn't go too I kind of start somewhere in the middle versus going too beginner-esque or what have you. So I found that that was kind of fun actually, and I think that made for opening things up a little bit.
Yeah. I think if you're getting instructional from there, like you're already training.
Like you're probably going on their first day. Like, or before they
about this Muaythai thing. I'm gonna give it a look.
Research.
Yeah, it almost feels like cheating. You're like, okay, you lay down, I don't know, $50, $100, whatever the case may be, and now you click on it, it's everything streamed, right? And you get there, and it's like, this is your stance, and I'm like, no. I mean, I don't, not now. Maybe at some point.
Yeah. And like a little sort of side question, I suppose, that because we talked a lot about the Warrior Collective kind of marketplace and what's available on there, and there is some wicked content from some geniuses, and I find that is one of the best resources for content you can genuinely learn from. And there is a lot of content online, both paid and for free through Instagram and stuff like that, that is not genuinely actionable. And it's like what Barry Robinson calls the combo of the day stuff. Things that people kind of try to look to and copy, but it's kind of moves rather than systems. I'm interested in sort of like what your take is on the kind of content that's available online to learn from. Is there anything, outside of what we've already mentioned that you kind of like the look of? Do you think it's an area that can develop? Like, because, some old heads are really like, there's nothing to be gleaned from online content, and then you got like a lot of like the internet is such an integral part of Muay Thai, especially that is slightly less mainstream. Like, what are your thoughts on kind of like online learning materials in general at the moment?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. There's some stuff out there that I mean, I'm not trying to disparage anybody's art, but also like Barry Robinson says, Instagram is not a development system. So there's some stuff out there that's people are trying to get attention, trying to get it viral, trying to get more followers, or for whatever their reasons are, their goals are. But I think there's a ton of valuable stuff as well. Like what Liam Harrison has his entire own website.
There's a lot on there. There's a lot.
Like, oh my goodness, to say something like that would be useless is fucking, pardon me, ridiculous. I mean, it's just
we can swear on here.
That's so good.
Yeah, all right. You know what I mean? It's anybody can think that. I mean, Liam's laying down, his entire method, his entire system, for you, and something like that's fantastic. And again, big fan of the Warrior Collective stuff. Barry's stuff is big in my eyes. Like he said, just the ideas of it. Like I said, the concepts. Fantastic. And I can't think of there's this other what's it called? Dynamic Striking's got some good content with some good people. And still, you got to kind of kind of push through it and wade through it. But even Instagram and YouTube, you can find some valuable stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that for I guess there's value in everything. It just kind of depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
I think that's again, not to disparage anything anybody really puts out there, but to some people, where you're at, certain things make more sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So also, in your instructional from there, your students that are helping you out from there. So you have, as we talked about there, Janet Todd, Jacky Bataan, as well. Like, main one said that prominent stars in the One Super Series now. So last time we talked to you, I think maybe Jacky might not have been in there, or maybe just even had one fight in one championship. Now, from there, she had like a fair few like really good Muay Thai fights, and she's become the atomweight kickboxing champion as well.
Janet, you mean Janet?
Yeah, Janet. Yep, sorry, my bad. So yeah, Janet Todd. Man, so when
Jacky's.
Yeah, she's rising up. And we'll talk about her also from there. So like with Janet, like how was that progression going through, and like and going between like the Muay Thai and kickboxing as well, like when you do train, do you change the pacing and whatever the suit, or you just kind of like as you do instructionals from there, and you kind of just go fight the fight and just kind of like add little tweaks?
Let's see. Kind of, thing we're focused on a bit with the the kickboxing in particular, which it's funny because people that say that, like, for example, that after watching some of us, even in the Muay Thai fights, people say, oh, they're not really Muay Thai, they're kickboxing style. And I'm like, well, no, I mean, kickboxing is such a generic sort of term, description. It can mean anything. But with the opponents we've had in terms of the kickboxing, not so much increasing the pace. Well, that's not true. Let me think. There's a few layers to this. Like fighting stamp again, for example, in kickboxing versus the Muay Thai. With that, it was like it was like, okay, we're gonna change this up quite a bit. We're not gonna try to make a kickboxing fight. Do like a Muay Thai sort of feel, Muay Thai sort of rhythm in a kickboxing fight, just because. What am I trying to say? It's not like take away long clinch and take away the elbows, and it's exactly the same thing. It's like, God, I'm so tongue tied tonight. We have this opportunity to really kind of change the rhythm of things, and instead of trying to do, fight the same way that this person has excelled at their whole life, why not take advantage of the rule structure and the difference in the sport, and give a look that might be a little harder to adjust to, for example. And in terms of like otherwise overall pacing in the other kickboxing fights, it's more like not necessarily pace, not necessarily trying to stay busy and hyper aggressive or anything like that, but more like a quicker rhythm, a shorter, so not pace in terms of we're doing more, but just being able to have things that are a little faster in terms of like the rhythm of it. Because I feel like you kind of get into something like that starts off like this, especially like in those 3-rounders, when you have people that are operating a little faster.
Yeah,
you kind of get between your waves, if you will. Their waves are shorter and choppier. You have a longer sort of rhythm, a longer sort of wave, and that can kind of throw people off. So we're really focusing on not necessarily doing more in terms of striking, but just having a shorter beat, a shorter rhythm.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It definitely does. It's like,
Sorry, long-winded.
Like I said, probably the question itself, like many layers to that question from there. But like, yeah, like you said, like, when you're finding like some stamping like two, like in Muay Thai and kickboxing from there, like Stamp herself like isn't going to really change too much. Just Stamp's going to fight because she knows this is how I fight, this is what I do well, and it was a good opportunity for you to like play on that a bit and just take, as I said, just little tweaks off of that, working off the angles in particular, instead of like, just going, let's go 50-50 with Stan Fairtex. That's
right.
Not going to really make too much sense, is it?
No, yeah, that was the plan. That was the idea anyway. It's just not to, not to turn the kickboxing fight into into a Muay Thai fight minus these, minus clinch and elbows. Like, we're gonna give this a different different feel, and see if they can, see if she can adjust in 15 minutes, that sort of thing. So
yeah, has Janet Todd got anything on the ticket at the moment?
I wish. We're kind of just waiting at the moment. We had, I think the last fight, I think it was like April, so it's coming up on another year here. Which is unfortunate. So she had to take a little short hiatus at the end of the year. But I informed everybody over there at one that she's ready to go. Let's get something going, and the fight, like, I'll bring it up. It's no big deal. I mean, it's a big deal. It's big. The thing that is, is the fight with Mexon, which, great, let's do it. She's fine. It's, all we've ever wanted were challenges, and that's definitely a challenge. And, there was some, media or social media, talking about, Janet being afraid or something like that. Then a bunch of people, chirping in or whatever the case may be. What's that?
It's just like amazing that like this is always the thing. Like, it's just like, oh, so and so is scared. Yeah.
I mean, no, and maybe that's just a tactic on their end to try to, to generate some publicity. Okay, that's that's understandable. I understand that. That's fine. That doesn't bug me too much. The like I said, random people on social media bugs me a little bit, in the sense that it's like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. We have, okay, who's the CEO of One Championship? Who's the boss?
Chatry.
Exactly. Okay, so somehow these people think like Janet Todd's the determines matchmaking, and not that even Chatry has a group that does the matchmaking and stuff. But you know what I mean? It's like they're like, oh, you're running away. It's like, how you're avoiding, how if you haven't got a contract,
and we'd like one, like.
And here's the thing, people they get offended. Oh, she didn't, God, what am I doing? I'm going down a road here because I'm trying not to, trying to be a nice guy or whatever. But
no, we're all for this.
I gave up on being a nice guy a while ago.
Yeah, that's cool. It's like on Mexon and her team's end, it's like, I understand their frustration, but for people to have these crazy ideas that somehow we're in control of what happens with the matchmaking is just it's silly, it's insane, it's naive, and I don't get that. So, and the whole thing here on our end is always, it's never really been give me this person, give me that person. It's just like, give me anybody. It's Janet's whole thing has always been just wanting to fight and fight the best. And earlier in her career, she took losses by taking fights that were that were steps, but that was it. They were things that are going to boost her up. So if it happens soon. I hope I hope it happens soon. I think a lot of people want it. I don't think on our end it's like great. Let's do it. I'm just waiting for the contract. Now, on the flip side of that, if they go, hey, we got this other fight, like, again, I'm not calling out, but if they say, okay, Alicia's ready to come back and do the Muay Thai title fight, like, okay, cool, that's fine as well. Just don't want to sit out longer.
Yeah, I think kind of like across the world, everyone's kind of done with sitting out, right? Like
that 2020, it's like we lost the whole year there, and then 2021 started out great for us. We had both Janet and Jacky had 2 fights in relatively quick succession, and it looked like things were going to get rolling, and then it just kind of slowed down for like 5-6 months for Janet. And then Jacky was fortunate to get like a 3rd fight last year, so see, that's I'm hoping I check the email every day. I bug people. I send emails or messages to people like, hey, when are we up again? So let's hope something happens soon. I'm getting old, man.
Aren't we all?
And how is kind of like the communication with One Championships from yourself, like stateside? Do you have like an American representative that you work through, or like is it sometimes difficult to get in touch with one? How have you found them to deal with?
No, they've been very easy to deal with. Like I said, I don't get the answers I want all the time. Because all I want is yes. But the gentleman I deal with, he's not stateside. He lives in Thailand. So talk to him. Bug him all the time. He knows. So hopefully I'll see this one. But no, communication's super easy. And like I said, I don't get the answer I want every time, but I get spoken to. So
get an answer. Yeah.
Do you get opportunities in America for the girls at all, or like the contracted one where you just go, look, man, we need something to happen here? Is like something gonna happen soon, or are we allowed to take a home fight? Has that ever come up?
It comes up a bit. Like we have like the World Games are coming up there in the States this year, like later on in the summer, and Janet came up through IFMA. Jacky had she did I think the Can-Ams, never got on the world team, but so that was an opportunity. We had to that came up and couldn't really do it. This one hurts. Had a WBC world title fight that we kind of didn't happen. So it's one of those things. It's like technically we're not. It's not my understanding of most people's contracts, and contracts might be different, is that you're not exclusive. But sometimes so.
Yeah, we had like some of the Australian people who were contracted to One, when they built the giant wall around Australia.
Yeah, right.
Lockdown, they kind of had to turn their attention to fighting locally, but all the kind of feedback that we heard was like that One were cool, and they were like, look, you're not getting out of there anytime soon, so you might as well keep yourself busy. But like, are there many opportunities for athletes of your girls' level within the States, or is kind of like One just sort of where they have to go to get fights?
I don't think there's a lot of opportunities. Yeah. There's some. There's a few women. I think fighting at both of Jacky and Janet's weight around the country.
Yeah.
It's just oftentimes a matter of get a promoter to put something together, because
Yeah.
it's nice. Someone on one coast, someone on the other coast. They don't want to spend the money to do things. So I would say there's a few fights for each of them, but not many.
Yeah.
So being having these opportunities with one are fantastic. I'm very excited to get both of them on the on that event, on that stage. Yeah. It's I suppose it's always the same thing with fighters and stuff. With most people, it's like you just never can. It's universal. It's like no matter what, you just want to fight more, no matter what.
Mm.
You can have a bunch of fights. You just still want. There's always that other one. So it's just that's the same thing. And everybody wants to be active.
Yeah, because one have put some even like recently. When there hasn't been like a ton of activity, have made some really good investments in both Jacky and Janet's weight classes.
Roster.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's still growing.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
there's there's things coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, there's.
It's like it's like you could like definitely do a tournament.
A tournament.
It's like cool. Like fuck that women's MMA one off. That sucked. I don't care. But like but like that sucked, man. Like that was just for Fairtex, Stan Fairtex, that one. But like the women's Muay Thai kickboxing, they got the guys one. That's awesome. The guys tournament's awesome for kickboxing. Why not do one for the women's? There's so many good women. It's such a great platform to promote as well.
Yeah, I think in both those weight classes, they're really starting to looking for build out those rosters, build out those divisions, and for either of those weight classes, I think like a tournament type thing. Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be great.
Sick. That would be sick.
Yeah, definitely.
We kind of like a while back, I last year or something. Yeah, probably last. God, everything's time moves differently now after all the shutdowns and stuff. It's really strange. But yeah, I think Janet even said something like that in one of her interviews. She was talking about, hey, let's do this. Let's do this tournament. But they did the MMA one, so. You're rubbing your eyes.
Yeah, so I've talked enough about that tournament. That was my feeling on that one.
I didn't manage to catch any of it, but
you're lucky. But let's go more positive note from this. So like
this is positive. I didn't think that was terribly negative. I thought it was positive.
But like someone like in Jacky Bataan just burst on the scene. She like love watching her fight as well. Like, it's like how long has she been part of? Like she's like from day dot, and just like her and Janet like always been together, or like has to be creation for Jacky Bataan from the beginning.
Let's see. Jacky started out like she was. I always forget. I want to say like 11 years old, 12 years old, something like that. So she started out like in the kids' class or whatever, something like that. Started in the kids' class, not something like that. I mean, that's exactly where she started. Started like in our kids' class, and then after she just one of those people that just kind of outgrew that. So as a pretty young kid, was training with the adults, and then when she was much younger, it was there was like a little time. Okay, I'm fighting a little bit. I'm into this. I'm not training. I'm not into it. But once Janet started really fighting and taking it seriously, she was the only person, female, close in the same size. Like Janet needed a training partner, like someone consistent to work with. So Jacky started working with her, and then it just kind of took off from there. So, but yeah, I was gonna say something else then.
I know you're cool. I think that's like a pretty common occurrence. See a lot of people like the starts in that kind of younger classes, like seen it before here and seen it in other gyms as well. And then it gets to like they kind of latch onto like a fight that goes, I need a training partner, I need to bring someone up, and they kind of mentor them into that role.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
the benefit, and that, you know, and then it goes generational. Like then they'll benefit, like they'll mentor someone after that. And this end product, it's such a wonderful end product you get.
Absolutely. I think it's been neat to, it's been neat to see them, that whole process happen, and neat to see them grow because, initially, I mean, Janet's the, more experienced person, and, there was struggle on Jacky's end, and then, Jacky would have these like, growth spurts, not in terms of physical size, but in terms of her abilities. And then, in the gym, just really be a challenging, sort of a challenging presence, for Janet to bounce off of. So they really kept pushing each other. And then, no one outside of pretty small circle of people kind of knew, Jacky's capabilities. And then, let's be honest, that first fight that, of Jacky's on one wasn't meant to go that way.
Of course.
I mean, it's, I'm not, saying anything bad. I mean, it's just that, at that event, after that fight, they already had like the if you look back on the replay, they had like Wonder Girl had already had a fight set up after that with Amber Kitchen, the next fight. So it's like, it's obvious, like, what was supposed to happen, but, like I said, outside of our small little circle, not too many people kind of knew what to expect. And she went out there and just kind of, I think, knocked the socks off of everybody. So that was cool.
Yeah, that was like a real sort of telling performance of the and I mean, like, as you say, like, we sort of know what we see from one championship now, and it's not like anyone's necessarily given an unfair setting, but they like to develop local talent. And like, so when you're coming in, I think like coming in from America is often quite similar to coming in from Australia, right? Like you're not there you haven't been brought in because they're expecting you to win. So like, I mean, like when you have that kind of understanding for your athlete, what's it like to come in as the unknown when you're preparing? Is it just like, can you not really think about that kind of story context? You just treat it like any fight? Like, what's that experience like?
In one regard, just kind of treat it like any other fight. Just do the research. Make a plan and do the prep. But on the other end, it's kind of like, it's just kind of this little fire.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm gonna, we're gonna take this opportunity and just smash the door down and rearrange people's plans and such. And it was fucking awesome.
Yeah. That's the way.
I mean, and like you said, as long as you have an understanding of things, people have to understand that in this business, things aren't always meant to be. There's not a lot of, I mean, it's a great opportunity to have to get signed to an organization like that or anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But everybody has to understand it's like it's not always just going to be everybody's. How am I trying to say it? It's not everybody's just altruistic. It's not like, okay, I want to always put together the best fight and the best fight. Sometimes the idea is, like you said, to build a story, to build a thing, and that's okay. You just have to understand that. Where it gets difficult is like, some people don't know that or don't understand their role. Like Glory, before things started really going downhill for Glory went on like this signing spree here in the States.
Yeah.
Like they were picking up a lot of people, picking up anybody and everybody. And there were a few people that, they signed that I thought, okay, these guys with, more opportunity could possibly do something. Someone like Asa Tenpao or Troy Jones, some guys that can kind of I think go to a higher level, compete at a higher level in that organization. But there are a lot of other people like, oh, I'm Glory signed athlete, and I'm just like, and that again, that's not to discourage them or disparage their skills or anything, but from say a region, that doesn't have a lot of Muay Thai, doesn't have a lot of kickboxing, and this person's more of a a low tier MMA fighter, but they're signed to Glory. It's like, okay, know your job, know your, and I mean, not know your job, but people wouldn't understand that they were there to be someone's highlight reel.
Yeah. It's
And
kind of like,
I mean,
you've got to understand that it's not an accolade that you signed with Glory. Like, it's well within your power to go and make it something, but they don't take the fact that they've brought you on to mean that, like, oh, I'm somebody. It's like, no, you could be.
It's the beginning. It's an opportunity, but you're gonna have to get out. You're gonna have to make the most of that opportunity. Give it everything. So, yeah.
And kind of speaking of, so of course, like with the one signings that you have in your stable, you're kind of like leading the charge from America in one championship. Since kind of your athletes have gone in and really made a mark, what's the response been in the Muay Thai and kickboxing scene in the States? Is like, have you seen like a lot of activity around athletes pushing towards one championship? Has it enhanced popularity? What's like, the perspective like that?
Let me see. God, I hope so. I have people like, for example, reaching out, say, how can I get on? How can I get on? So I think there's a good handful of people that, that would like that opportunity as well. God, I think, again, there's another one of those multi-layered questions there, right?
We go deep here.
Yeah.
Like kickboxing and Muay Thai, it's such a niche sort of thing here. Obviously it's still MMA that kind of dominates. The MMA and boxing, but they're almost, to me, kind of, they're very different. Well, obviously, they're, but there's a lot culturally. Anyway, gosh, get me back on track here.
The question was kind of just like, since from where you sit, having brought athletes that have made such a mark in one championship, have you felt like it's kind of helped bolster the American Muay Thai scene? Are you seeing kind of popularity increase, or it's still kind of just trucking along as it was?
I think it's, I think like, I don't think it's like broken it to a much wider audience. I think it's growing. It's this slow, steady sort of growth. That's what it feels like. And then, seeing really the biggest opportunity to see a good majority of the growth is like the amateur style tournaments that happen. Those of you see the talent getting higher and higher and better, and as they start kind of aligning with with IFMA, where there's pros fighting in pads, but they're all already fighting high level amateurs or other pros. I'm seeing that grow. So I don't think like necessarily having two athletes on one has grown it to like a mainstream thing. It's definitely, they definitely get more attention and things like that. But yeah, I still think it's just kind of still chugging along. It's still so niche, niche, small market. I'd love to see it be something bigger, but who knows? I mean, probably not in my lifetime. How's that for
Well,
pessimists?
well,
Yeah.
it seems to me like you're like in America at the moment. There seems to be like a beginning. There's a beginning that's happening now. Like people like Patrick Rivera, Matt Lucas, all these great people are getting behind this developmental league, which is like
Yeah.
development days like we kind of do here in like UK as well, where now like these padded tournament, these padded fights, you could have a couple during the day, and it seems like they're getting like the pictures I've been seeing from there, the first couple look really successful, and just getting out there, people doing Muay Thai, getting scored properly as well, getting taught the proper techniques. Is also, it's like, yeah, it seems like America is now seems to be in that beginning stage of like, 5 or so years down the track, you could have some real good talent on your hands there.
Let's hope. The work those guys are doing. I think it is phenomenal, and it's going to be helpful. And I find it interesting too. It's like there's also, Patrick, I think really, well, Patrick and USMF really kind of spearheaded that, like the Muay Thai, what they call it, Muay Thai Development League. And I think it's actually a good sign that there's now actually like a couple people that are kind of a knockoff of it, with, which might some people like, oh man, they're stealing idea, they're kind of ripping off thing off, like, yeah, in a way, but in another way that other people are doing it, it might not be what the founders hope for in terms of the quality. But to me, it's like if there's more fights happening, more opportunity is better than less opportunity.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's hope it's the birth of well, not the birth, but just kind of an explosion of things. Let's hope it keeps carrying on. But there's just always, I don't know what it is, man. I just the way I'm wired. I always just have some thing in the back of my head that like something's gonna go wrong. It just always seems that like there's always just a little something behind the scenes just holding this thing back, Yeah. It's the lizard people, you know what I mean? It's like some conspiracy things just to, just to hold it back because, something, I hope not. And that's not to say that I want that to happen. No, I want this to be as awesome as it can be.
I think in Muay Thai sometimes, like the longer you're around, the more it can it's emotionally safer to expect the worst. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yes, thank you. Yes, yeah.
Like a lot of people in Muay Thai have had a lot of really exciting sounding ideas over the years, and maybe when you're first in, you're like, yes, this is it, and every time, if you let yourself latch onto too many of these ideas as this is the thing, you'll just be disappointed so many times.
Yeah, exactly.
That you start to be like, sounds like it's a really cool idea, and I wish you the best, but I will watch from afar.
Yeah, watch from afar. But it's like I don't want to be that guy either. They just kind of, what I mean, the people that just kind of wait, and then when things go good, then they're there to snatch up everything and somehow insert themselves into the,
Yeah, there's a middle ground to strike between just being a complete pessimist and just kind of getting over invested in things. Because as you say, there's a lot of people in Muay Thai that are that are just so quick to jump on anyone who tries to do something different. That's not going to work. And that's draining in its own way.
Yes,
because you're kind of have some fucking faith, man.
Absolutely.
There's logic to that too.
But I mean, you do see that. You do see that type of thing, say in regards to the, the development, the development league fights or the IFMA, Olympic style, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
There's still a segment of people that are just like, no, man, I don't do that pad shit, without looking and this conversation comes up it seems like every interview. It's like, okay, Yod Wicha, Andre, Kublin, Pavon's been in there, it's like Jimmy, I can't pronounce his
Benya.
name. The French, yeah.
It's something like that. That's probably not it.
Was it in Iman Barlow? Was in the
Yeah.
last one?
Yes, Iman was just in it. Yeah.
The list goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Capitan.
Capitan, yeah.
People, Oh, so it's like some random dude from, some random state. It's like, no, man, I don't do that weak shit.
So,
Congrats.
that's it. You stay weak, fam.
A real hard man.
Yeah, exactly. You stay weak, you do you. I mean, you stay strong, you do this guy, you do your thing, Mr. Hard Ass,
I'm sure he laughs at Capitan when he, if they run into each other like pads.
Let's get out of here.
That's really embarrassing, Capitan.
So, boys, what do you reckon? Should we hit these questions up?
Yeah.
Oh,
actually,
my goodness.
I have one call out to the question askers of the podcast world. So, like, a lot of the time when you're in like a educational or professional setting, people say, "Come on, guys, there's no such thing as a stupid question." That's to encourage people to ask. Like, I just want to call out, like, there is absolutely such thing as a stupid question. So, like, please send your questions in. I just don't want to approach this under the premise that there's no such thing as a dumb question, because I've seen some fucking doozies.
We put them to the board and then we approve which one's going to get done enough.
So what I mean is, like, okay, like, don't be self-conscious asking a question. Like, just put some thought into it.
Yeah. But like, also be surprised if, like, because we're both on the Instagram running it from there, but if we pick up your question and we dress you down a little bit for asking it, it's to help you. It's educational.
No, you can send your question, but we have a lot of really smart people such as Bryan Popejoy on the podcast. Like, I might just vet that question myself. I might not let that through.
True. Just like, Bryan doesn't need to hear this.
That's not worth his time.
Yeah, you give me far too much credit.
So we'll ask some of these questions. They're all from Matt Lucas.
Yeah, he asks a good question.
They're all from Matt
Lucas.
That's it. And there's one other question that's not Muaythai related, but we'll ask it for there because I want to hear the answer to it as well.
All right.
Okay, so there's 3 questions by Matt Lucas. We'll just take them on. So all right, Bryan. So Matt asks, how do you deal with fighting opponents you've only seen on video?
Okay. In regards to that, I almost think it's better. Because something about, like, I've watched fights live and watched people live and just been like, who's gonna fight this monster? And the sound and everything. And then you watch it on video and you're like,
yeah.
So in a way, it's almost, it's easier. It's better to me. You can turn the volume down. You don't have to listen to people trying to paint a picture. You don't hear things. You don't have all this Las Vegas stimulus going on. Stimuli, whatever, all this thing. So to me, it's better. It's easier. To kick it back to what we're talking about with say Jacky and one. All those people, all their opponents, I'd never seen them fight before, live, and it's easier.
I like, just to kind of follow from that, like, I had a feeling that that would sort of somewhat be your answer. And there are some obvious advantages to just having video, right? Like with camera angles and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But to think of it from the other perspective, what are the key advantages you see to actually being in-house to see a future opponent fight? Like, is there anything that stands out that you can't pick up on video that's beneficial to see live?
It maybe some of those, like, and again, this is going to just depend on angles and where you're at and things too. Sometimes just little minutia that maybe you don't quite see from out here, but you can kind of see it a little closer up. How people act and react, and if there's psychological things, because there's some people. It's funny, and I mean, you guys know this, but there's people out there that there's like some sort of they're fighting, but they're doing this difficult thing, but it seems like they're just it's real trauma. They're barely like hanging on. It's like things. You know what I mean? At a
Yeah.
certain level, it's like they're not maybe. This isn't everybody, obviously, but I can't think of I can't make this real concise. But sometimes you just see those little personality things. Maybe
Yeah.
that's something you can take advantage of. You can see if things bother them. Maybe facial expression, slight little things that are given away.
Yeah.
Yeah, things like that.
I guess there are kind of moments when you watch a fight on TV, like or broadcast ready, it's like the camera work is almost like cinematic, like it's finding
Yeah.
these like big moments, and sometimes those, as you say, like not so much like broad technical elements of the fight, but little like psychological things kind of exist in that in between that you need the holistic picture to kind of get a look at.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Lucas asks, what is the /a career path for coaches?
What is the career path for coaches? I don't know what that means exactly. What does that mean? Like, what do you mean? What is the
Mate likes
career
to be a
path?
little bit cryptic as well.
Hey, I think, yeah, I
But like,
can.
expand on it in any kind of way that you can relate to you. Just like just pick one. Doesn't.
Well, I think like any what is the does it say what is the or a career path? What does it say?
What is the or /a career
A.
path for coaches?
Okay, I'll go with A. What is a career path? Because the sounds like what is the only way to do things. Where
If you wish to be a coach, you have to do this and
you
this.
have to do this. You have to do this. A path might be starting out as an enthusiast,
Mhm.
delving into competition as a fighter. Hope at this finishing competition and wishing to take what you've learned uh, and pass that on to others, and from there or within that starting at a local, a small uh, place, starting with development and still seeking out other coaches for mentoring, and just kind of going from level to level, from smaller fights to slightly bigger to whatever wherever whatever peak you can get to. I think that's kind of I think that's a pretty common sort of career path. Except I don't think there's everybody's kind of different, but I think that's probably a version of it, and probably the most typical.
Hmm. Well, I guess now like there's so much hype around like Muay Thai getting to Olympics, if it ever
Mhm.
does. Like that's the
Mhm.
question at the moment from there. But like it seems to be like I guess a lot of athletes like would love to be an Olympian, and also they you'd need a coaching staff to go towards that. With like it's like if someone like America would. And like kind of going with IFMA anyway. Like you always have your teams from there, going into like certain coaching positions. There's you get the head coach and you've been through the process yourself. That what's the criteria that kind of like allows you to select who actually gets on the coaching staff of the USMF?
My initial um my initial opportunity was kind of right place, right time, so to speak. The first year I coached, the fights were in Bangkok and in Thailand again, and I was there on summer vacation this time instead of winter, and they had a little bit of trouble filling some roles. So I was asked, hey, do you want to do this? And then right around the same time, actually, they had asked Janet to fight first, and I was all for that. I thought it'd be a great opportunity for her, but I wasn't going to be able to be the coach. But then a couple weeks later or something, they're having trouble with scheduling and things like that. And they go, well, hey, can you do this? Are you willing to do this? And I said, yeah. And that was, like you said, right place, right time. And that was big for me. That was huge. But I really think, the what would be the path for that? Almost the same thing, being able to develop your athletes from lower level shows up towards A-class type competition, and being able to excel locally, and then countrywide, if that's the word I'm looking for, nationally. There we go. Excel nationally, and then hopefully get some international experience. And now I got off track. I thought I was thinking athlete versus coach there, but I think it's almost like the same sort of path.
Yeah.
As the athlete, you have to be able to develop people step to step to step to step, and then prove that you can have that success and hopefully duplicate that success. I think that's also a factor that kind of helps out, because sometimes you just have people that are, in terms of athletes, or that are just outliers, and they can be like, you can have a coach that only they can't replicate a lot of success. That's why sometimes, to be honest, that's like a thing with me. It's like, okay, I have to, I got to keep doing this for me to feel like, okay, I'm really doing well.
Yeah.
It's like it's not like a fluke. Oh yeah, I got a one champion athlete from that one, but it's like, but yeah, it's cool. But have you got anyone else? Have you shown that? Yeah, I can.
Yeah, it's and it never ends.
Yeah. Just to stay on that theme and sort of pull that question apart a little bit more, in the time that you've been involved, do you see like more opportunity for budding coaches to really make a career of it in the United States specifically?
I think so. I think I think there's, since like we kind of talked about that big bang of how things are progressing along. I think it's given people opportunity to be seen, and to show that they know that that they're capable of developing people, and bringing people to these increasingly more difficult challenges. And now it's like, it used to be, for whatever reason, generally speaking, there's always exceptions to this, but for the States, it was generally the coasts that tend to have the sort of the strongest Muay Thai kickboxing culture or whatever. But now it's like you're seeing people from all over the country, that are the Midwest, the South, places where that traditionally didn't have the same, the same culture, the same development. That's changing, which to me is fantastic. It's great. That shows that things are growing. That shows that there's some growth here. So like a kid like Jaleel, that's I can't remember. I think I want to say Ohio or something like that. Not that there was never good people from Ohio, but I mean, that's just like just an example of like, okay, these places that aren't like like the big whatever the big hotbeds. You always think like something like New York, or here in LA, or something like that. But now you have these things popping up all over the place, and that's great. That's good.
Yeah. Nice. All right, and let's go. One more question from Matt Lucas for me. So Matt asks, how important is it to discuss purse sizes and money for fighters?
Okay, so with that, I'm going to say, how important is it to discuss with who, Matt?
That is a really good follow-up question that I was just thinking. Who was discussing it with?
You know what I mean? It's like, I think it's very important to discuss in certain, amongst yourselves. But it's, Matt and I were actually just having this little discussion where he asked me, a question about money, and I didn't want to answer it. It's just I don't know how it is in Australia, but it's one of those things people you just don't kind of ask people.
Yeah,
Sometimes questions.
He does.
Yeah, questions like that. Where like in Thailand, it's like, how much money you make? And it's like a, so,
it's
it's okay. It's a common sort of thing. So, Matt, that's and anybody else. I mean, yeah, it's there's a time and a place and so on and so forth for that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's kind of like
answer to the cryptic question.
It's kind of like interestingly complicated as well from a trainer's perspective, because like you'll negotiate purse, if you're a trainer / manager, as is often the case in Muay Thai, like you'll negotiate purse and whatever with the paying side. But if someone's asking you to discuss it, you're discussing somebody else's money.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Which is doubly, like, it's not really my place to tell you how much someone else is making. I'm just kind of the intermediary. Sure. Like, if you want to talk about how much they're making, you should talk to them.
Exactly. That definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's other people's business, really. So in regards to that,
I mean, no, keep going. You go first.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, in a way, okay. It's like I can understand a need for that in the sense of making sure that people aren't getting, the short end of the stick, the short straw, that sort of thing. That sort of thing. I mean, I can understand having some discussion, and that would be, if not specifics, but you know what I mean. If it's, how do I want to do this? I don't want to say like necessarily like a fight union. Maybe that would be good. I don't know. But it's like I can see a certain amount of value, but it's a very sensitive subject.
Yeah.
Unless you're making like Conor McGregor money, and you're like, fuck,
Yeah. It's
and then you're just flaunting it. So, but yeah, it's sensitive.
Yeah, definitely. But what I was thinking, like, it's like from you, because you got like experience like in both, like dealing with like a big organization like one, and then like always down to the local end from there. Like when you're in the local end, like I can do this per round, and then but like it's like if they sell this many tables and then they sell this many tickets, you get percentages off that and whatnot.
Yeah,
and that's always a negotiation thing, because like as we talked about before, like guys talk about, it's like fighters get paid more, but like the reverse is go, well, how many tickets are you selling? How many people are actually coming to see you? That you bring in.
Yes.
But then when you go into one, I guess it's more like sporting type contracts. Like is like there's a base level, but then each fight, do you get a pay upgrade, or do they have data that people come watch you as well? Like there's constant negotiations going on, or they just go, this is it. You got 3 fights, nothing else, nothing changes. Like
Were you asking if like that's like if there was room, like for us in particular, were there?
Yeah, is it like in those kind of do you have that constant contact with one itself? Like
There's like at the beginning, if you're there's always like there's always negotiation. There's always a back and forth, and and you can always I think with most of these most companies, it's like you can if you have the leverage or what have you, you can always try to change things and do better for your do better for your people and such. I mean, those opportunities exist, and that's always been kind of the what am I trying to say? Kind of the message kind of I've gotten from them. It's like, okay, I mean, nothing. It's never been just rock solid, ironclad this and draconian and anything like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so there's room for movement, you know, and because you got to consider like oftentimes too, it's like maybe at the beginning, you know, you're going to start with something and settle for something because that's all they're giving you. You haven't done anything, you know, but then you know you do something explosive, and that changes things. You know, that creates leverage and opportunity, things like that. So that may or
Yeah.
may not have happened.
That's fair. Because like, you know, you're seeing just like a lot of like especially Australian talent getting signed up, and then probably like a lot of coaches that never had to deal with this before. Like, you know, it's like it's a fucking like big thing. Like you go, shit, should I get like a solicitor or something to look at this? Like, you know, it's like, but then like, you know, just get that like just it's like it's an opportunity though. It's like, you know, it's like just got to see how it goes from there. But going on,
It
like
is.
myself, I wouldn't know how to approach it. You know,
I mean,
honestly,
it is.
wouldn't
It
know how to-
is. You know, it is okay. It is an opportunity, but at the same time, it's like if you know you don't have, you know, I sought help. You know, I have friends that are contract lawyers that work for, you know, that work for a pretty well known MMA management firm, company, whatever you want to call it, and promotion and stuff. So, you know, so they're deeply involved with, you know, with some pretty high level people. So, you know, I don't want to say names because then people go, oh, okay, I know what you mean, and so on and so. But yeah, I mean, I sought help definitely. You know, in terms of just having that lawyer there to be able to person that can read all that and understand, and I think that's important. But you know, like I said, the flip side, okay, it is an opportunity, but you know, it's also a business, and you know, when you deal with like business, it's like generally speaking, they're gonna try to give you the least. It's just business, you know. If you know, you don't get hurt by that. You know, oh, feelings are hurt. It didn't, you know. Fine, you know, you want more, you need more. You gotta kind of fight for it. You know, and that's me saying this from, you know, from both ends of that, from experience in terms of not getting that, but learning that lesson, and later on, you know, like, you know, doing better. So, you know, so yeah, tremendous opportunity, but you know, don't be afraid to, you know, negotiate.
Absolutely.
And,
Let's see.
or get somebody to do it for you, you know.
True.
Because that way it's not you, it's somebody else, and somebody else that has experience in that. And to be honest, this is a place that I do not like being in. I don't like having that role.
Well, as coaches, we're not trained for this. Like, I don't
exactly. And that's part of the business too. It's like you're not really that astute. And even me saying the things, hearing the words coming out of my mouth, like, Bryan, you're not that fucking smart, you know. Yeah, but that's just it. That's part of it too. You know, you got to consider that. It's like, you know, they know that. Everybody knows that. You know.
Kind of difficult, I suppose, in that like you have that level of care, like you want your athlete to get their share, but at the same time, it's not really your domain. So it's like it's a little bit of a split. So it's like you really want to do everything within your power.
Absolutely, you want to do what you can, but you want It's like you always want, like, to me, you know, I always want the best, you know, for my people, and I'm not, you know, it's like, okay, I'm not saying I'm the best, but you know what I mean? But it's like you want the best for your people, so you want the best people to be able to help them with these things. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like I don't want to. It's like I can, you know, have, you know, my ego take over, and I can handle all this stuff when there's people out there that can do much better at it. So
don't handle things that you're not equipped to handle just in the interest of control. Like you're kind of, you know, no one wins from that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we got one more question, not Muay Thai related at all. but very very personal to Bryan. So Instagram handle, it's a $50 bill. Cool. Okay. Thanks for the question, mate. Misfits or minor threat? You can't have both. Which do you pick?
Okay, so just to put some stuff out there and not assuming everybody knows what we're talking about here. These are two like sort of punk rock / hardcore bands from the generally the early 80s. I think they're both broken up by the early 80s. So being a former like punk rocker kid from the 80s, these are definitely two bands that are part of the soundtrack. And this is a tough one because geez. Okay, I feel like Minor Threat is a little bit more, how do I put this, important in terms of like who really sounds like the Misfits that like that you know, like nobody did like a good Misfits thing, but Minor Threat was like, you know, sort of early, you know, an earlier hardcore band that, you know, just like the whole straight edge thing spawned like a whole nother movement. So in a way, it's like almost like Minor Threat's like I think culturally a little more significant in that regard. But with that being said, geez, man, you know, the Misfits, it's silly, it's corny, it's you know, it's schlocky with the whole horror theme and all these skulls and, you know, all this fucking thing. And it's, you know, maybe it's a little overplayed now that, you know, they've gotten back together as old men and done these, you know, money grab reunion shows and all this. And they're really just like punk rock version of Kiss, you know, with all the fucking showmanship. But there's so much fun. It's such, you know, all the whoa whoas and all the sing-alongs and that sort of thing. I remember, you know, being like getting down in the dumps or whatever, and if it was like, you know, you needed like a kind of something to pick you up, you know, songs with those whoa whoas and the choruses, all the you know, corny cheesy Misfit stuff kind of did it, where Minor Threat just kind of made you angrier, you know, in its own way. So I got to go with the Misfits.
There you go.
Now, I don't know if this, see, even with the question, okay, I know that's a very long way. Even with the question, I don't know what that means. Is this one of these desert island things? Like you can only choose one to listen to while you're stranded on the desert island.
I was
like
thinking that as well. Like, are we coming up with a universe where one never existed? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't really understand the question.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of makes the question a little difficult, a little more.
Then there's more implications to think about. You know,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
What happened if they were never around?
Exactly. It's like what all these like straight edge kids, and you know, I had like a pretty strong sort of straight edge, you know, X's on my hands phase and everything like that. It's like what all these kids have like OD'd or become alcoholics or, you know, stuff like that. It's like, what are the implications of removing these bands from the universe? So,
like,
so I don't know what that.
The expectation was we read into the question that far, but you got to ask an exact question.
Exactly.
We just dive into Spider-Verse here, pretty much.
Exactly, into the punk rock Spider-Verse or whatever. So I hope it doesn't mean that they're wiped away from the history of mankind or whatever. I hope it's just more like a desert island or a long road trip soundtrack type thing. So let us pray.
That's great. So was there anything?
No, I think we're good.
Cool. So for yourself there, Bryan, was there anything that you feel that you wanted to get out there that we didn't go over today at all?
Man, no. Maybe at like 3 a.m, I'll go, oh man, I should talk about this. About but you know, things like this are always humbling and you know, greatly appreciated. You know, it's cool to be you know, recognized for something you kind of poured your, you know, heart and soul into for a long time. So thank you Thank you very much. And again, I think I touched on it earlier, like just talking about the video, like the Warrior Collective video and stuff. It's just like, wow, people, people are liking what I'm doing and things like that, and that feels great. And it's kind of affirming that I'm on a right path, and hopefully just continue to do that, and hopefully inspire other people, and just keep on having fun with this thing. But again, thank you so much.
So I really appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us from syncing up the times, and we're huge fans of what you do. So like it's really sick that you make the time to talk to a couple of idiots in Australia.
Oh, come on now, don't be like that. My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, that's like
no, I mean, okay, just to touch on that, because it's like I've always had like a little guy syndrome, little brother syndrome with the in regards to the States, in terms of our development and such. It's like that's why I'm excited to see what's happening in this country, and how things are picking up. But it was always like
definitely.
I always looked to Australia. I always looked to England. I always looked to France. Obviously, always looked to Thailand. It's like all these places have, such a rich history with Muay Thai and kickboxing to a degree as well. And it means a lot to me that folks in Australia are like, oh, you guys are excited about somebody like me, somebody that's doing something in the States. So that, again, thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely going in the right direction. And
absolutely.
So remember, like, to check in the description box there. We've got the link from that one. Hopefully, Ryan, you have as many, or if not more, volumes to yours, like Barry Robinson. Because I think Muay Thai needs a little bit of a guy like that as well. Just try and make
that's you know what, that's those are some big shoes to fill. Barry's something else, man. Barry's a genius. And I strive to be able to think like that guy.
Awesome, cool. So we'll end it there from that. Just stick around. We'll just end this off from here. So yeah, guys, thank you for listening again. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Okay, so this is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's on YouTube as well.
It's everywhere you could possibly want it.
That's it. And I need more views for that one. All right, but we'll catch you next time. All right.
See ya.
Peace.
Peace out.